Hello everyone, my name is Anna and welcome to my channel. I have these two beautiful ladies here and we're going to be chatting about different subjects like what does being a woman what does being a woman mean to for you and growing up in a man designed world and all the struggles that we have but also joys, I guess. And being females in the modern society. So yeah, let me introduce you to Marina. Can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Oh, sure. How do I describe my identity crisis in a nutshell? Yeah, so, yeah, yeah, my name is Marina. I'm 41. I'm from Russia, St. Petersburg, and I live in Dublin for 6 years now. And I know Anna from music lessons, which I'm really grateful for. And yeah, I do lots of different random creative pursuits. Not sure where it is all going, and I'm really excited to be here. It's so great to be heard. And yeah, thanks a lot for inviting me.
It's amazing. Thanks so much for being here. And we have Estella as well. Female tribe, the female tribe of three. Anyhow, oh yeah, the what is it? The Jesus, only crone is coming to my maiden.
Maiden, maiden.
What's the middle?
Yeah.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
It's like the triple goddess, so it's
Yes. Triple
maiden.
goddess. Thank you, thank
Okay.
you. I couldn't remember. I just
It's good to be part of it, though.
There's maiden, there's the crone, and there's us in the middle that we don't know what the
yeah.
heck that is.
It's like mature women. No, that
But
would be the
it's
crone.
the
No, I
crone is
actually
like a hag. Like the maiden is like the young girl, but in the middle is
totally. My
it's
brain is blank.
in the
And I
middle.
used to know
It
that
will
because
come.
I
Yeah.
used to know that because like I have a what resembles to be a type of triple moon mixed with Nordic mythology on my back. So I should know that.
You
I'm so
should know
bad
that.
at it right now. I can't remember.
If you have a tattoo of it, you should know. Is it mother? It's not mother,
It could be
but
mother.
it's
If you want, I
something
can
like
Google it.
it.
I mean, I'm a second from Googling it.
It's not
I mean,
mother, but it's similar. Like it's like
yeah, you are right, actually. It's the maiden, mother, and crone.
oh,
So yeah, it
okay.
is the mother. Brilliant. Yeah. It's
Okay.
such an easy thing, but you like in the moment you just can't think of it because you're trying to think like, oh, what would be in the middle of between a very young woman and an elderly woman, you know?
I
But
think it's
yeah,
not
it is
fair
the
though.
mother.
Like, what if you don't want to be a mother? So what the heck are you then? I don't know. A maiden, a mature woman and a crone.
Yeah, yeah,
what, what,
definitely. Def
what if you're not mature? Right?
I don't know if I don't know if any of us can call ourselves mothers unless
I
it's
can.
like
Yeah.
mothering
Well,
someone
no.
else.
I have a lot of children around me that are not my children, but like my parents, for example, are becoming my children, and other people that I know that are coming for advices from me, and I sometimes I feel like, why are you asking me these things? Like, it's like I feel like a
Go ask
mother
your mom, yeah.
sometimes. Go ask your mother. Anyhow, yeah, did I introduce myself? But yeah, this is my channel, so people probably know a bit about me. So I'm a singing teacher, I'm a singer. I am interested in psychology, spirituality, like yeah, so those are my kind of like psychology even more like definitely human psyche always was kind of like a thing that I was very curious about, and how to fix myself from my broken childhood. That was probably a big a big part of my free time being spent on. Anyhow, I think the first question that we had on our list is
What list? We didn't have a list. It's all
we have
spontaneous.
we had a list. I don't. What does being a woman mean to you? I know that I wrote this, like, I'm just like, Jesus Christ Almighty. That's a hard question, right? I mean, like, we have all these people around us now that say, I identify as a woman, right? And sometimes I'm like, good for you. I don't even
Yeah,
know
but
what it means. Can you
yeah, you know
tell
what?
me?
Like, I'm I'm actually I've tried to answer this for myself, and I have to admit I just can't. Like, I'm still exploring what it is to be a woman for me, because like if you talk about energy, like all of us have masculine and feminine energy inside us, like both of it, and it's just a matter of how much of it and how we use it. And like most of my life, I had to be in my masculine energy because I had to provide for myself. I had to make money. I had to take important decisions like whether or not I moved to Ireland, for example, and like basically how to survive, right? And this didn't leave much space really to explore my feminine side, and it's only now that I think I start having this space, like I feel safe enough, I feel kind of settled, like my shit together. So what is it for me to be a woman? And like it's very stereotypical, like this beliefs that a woman means a mother, like with that as we just discussed. But I'm not a
Yes.
mother just yet, and like what does it mean? Yeah, so just let me know if I'm talking too much. But for me, it's like the man, like the masculine energy. In Russia, we have this saying, like the man is a head and the woman is a neck. But I think it's a bit different. Like a man or masculine energy is a head, and the feminine energy is a heart. So, like masculine energy, it's all about fast thinking, decision making, survival and providing and multitasking and all that. It's like supercomputer. And the heart is it's very gentle, it's slow, it's something nurturing and growing. So it doesn't necessarily doesn't have to be about giving birth, but it's about growing and nurturing and taking care and loving. So I'm just like I'm trying to find a space for myself to actually explore and apply this energy. So that's pretty much where I am right now with this.
Sounds like a good place to be at. Yeah, no, I do absolutely agree. Like, being a mother is not like being a reproductive system is not what it means to be a woman. Come
So
on.
much
Yeah.
more
Yeah,
than just the term mother,
yeah,
you know. That definitely. I mean, and I like the fact that basically you want to be able to have the freedom to be a woman and to explore being a woman, and that also comes for myself. I do a lot of astrology, tarot. I really like. I've always been very attached to the mystical, to the things that I can feel and I can intuitively connect to, and I feel that as women we maybe not all women, but most women, we have that in us. It's like part of our femininity. As in tarot, the high priestess. The high priestess is both, and is both covered by dark and light. So even the things we cannot see in the light, they're like hidden. But that doesn't mean they're bad. They're just it's a very, very feminine trait to have and to nourish intuition and spirituality. So obviously, therefore, like a lot of women naturally crave that and naturally like gravitates towards that. And I think
mm,
it's completely natural. And if you have someone coming to you and saying, you should like stop focusing on that. No, for me, that's telling me like I have to be completely masculine, which is logical, which is like completely like void of my intuition and feelings,
Yeah.
So for me also to also answer the question is to be a woman is to be allowed to actually feel and to be a woman, because in today's world we are not really allowed to be one. They are encouraged, but they're encouraged in the physical more than the core that's supposed to be
Mystical.
feminine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I was
now it's
like,
more, yeah, like now nowadays I think it's more freedom about it, because like in the like middle centuries they would burn witches on the fire. Like at least
they
they don't do
burn you.
this to us anymore. Like,
Yeah,
okay,
okay.
you play witch, you're weird, so I let you be, so I will not burn you on fire. And yeah, thanks for that. At least like
we can
Not yet.
we can like safely say that we have finally come to a point in history where we're not like tortured and burned to death for like feeling, for feeling something's off, or for trying to heal, because many of these like tools are meant to also heal people and reveal what's like hidden.
Yeah.
Herbalists, for example, like finally, at least like we're not perfect, but at least we're come to a point where we're not like killed and tortured, which is like really sad, because like, oh, we've only gotten rid of that, but everything else that's like stayed, it's still kind of there.
Yeah, true. I was like thinking about this question as well, and I was looking like back at my family, right? So all the women in my family, and like I was like thinking about the energy actually, rather than what I was seeing, and I could just sense like this incredible strength, but this strength was never used like for their personal good. Like it was always about surviving. It's about like bearing something, or like surviving for your children, or surviving the abuse, or it was never like really used for anything constructive. And then I realized it's like this strength is kind of like different than male strength. It's actually stronger. I firmly believe that women are stronger than men in many things, because we can endure things that they would never be able to endure. So just imagine like all this energy that was put into enduring just to be put into something else. And like I discovered that energy in me, and I was like, I can fucking do anything. Like I can literally do anything. And it's not from like a male perspective. Like it's not like I'm a big, strong guy and I can do anything. No, it's just like this creative energy that can just like roll out. And I'm like, wow, I can create so many things. And so I think like female energy is a lot about creating. It's not just about creating a baby, it can be creating anything. And like, men are more hunters, so they would go out and, get food, and they would have to like be with each other in order to achieve something. But with women, community is so important. But like we create through community, and we create communities. That's why there's no communities anymore, because men are running the world. They don't need community. They can be alone in their room. They don't give a crap. But we can't. We just wither away. Yeah. So it's being a woman for me like literally means like being like wild. Just being wild, like I feel like that my female ancestors were so trapped. They had this feeling of like, a lot of them were in like arranged marriages, or they just, it was a big shame if you got a divorce, so like you would marry someone, like you wouldn't know them well because you couldn't court them for years. Like if someone was courting you and they kissed you, they were like, oh, disgrace, you have to marry him now. So, they would get into like marriages. Like my grandmother, for example, like she was married to a guy that was like raping her, and she left. You had to have balls to do that. Like female balls. Ovaries. Yeah, it's crazy. So I think what we do share is like incredible strengths. But it was just used for wrong things. Surviving. And especially I think in Balkans, like, or like Slavic people. what have we been doing for centuries? Just surviving, really.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah,
True.
yeah,
That's so true. Even we
yeah,
were discussing the other day how the energy in the Balkans is a very heavy energy. It
yeah,
holds so much suffering and so much trauma, that energy that like engulfs you when you're there, which is much different when you go to a Western place. Even with women, the dynamic is a bit different. But
yeah,
in the Western world, it's another story with the energy between men and women, much different.
yeah, yeah.
you
There's
know,
off balance in
yeah,
both.
definitely,
Yeah,
definitely off balance.
yeah,
But with women, like we really need, as you said, like women create communities. Um, and I'm often asked, why do women have a need to communicate everything all the time? Like, why can they not just hold it in? Because it's not our nature.
no,
I get that asked a lot, like, oh, why do you need to talk to another woman? Or why do you need to like say everything so openly? Just don't say it. Just keep it all in. It's like, no, because if I do, then it's gonna be like so bad.
Mhm.
oh,
Like we
Yeah.
don't do that generally. It's
yeah,
not in our nature, I don't
Yeah.
think.
May I just say something in defense of men? Because it's not just about women like who are creative and need community. I think men just need this all the same things. Like
Hmm.
especially I think it matters the matter of what we are allowed and what we are expected to be as a man or as a woman. Like men wouldn't be even allowed to cry, you know. It's a
no,
shame for a man to cry, and of course they would hide their emotions and they wouldn't want to talk about stuff. They would prefer to shut down when where a woman is more allowed to do that. But also women, on the other hand, women would have been prohibited or discouraged to do some certain stuff. Like, for example, I was just thinking about art also because there is an exhibition going on right now. I think it's called the female or women impressionists. So, and I'm like, oh, I need to see that because I actually don't know any famous female painter, like famous female artist, because I think some years ago only men would be allowed to express themselves like in different ways, like in art, in painting and singing and so on. For women, it was just prohibited. She had some completely different role, and yeah, this is about energies. Like there is a feminine energy in the men also. It's just what we are allowed to do.
yeah. No, I was just like aiming that men are more like if they're in a community, what they tend to do more is like it's an action driven community. So they would like meet and they would have an agenda of what they're doing, but women would just meet just for just they would just meet. Like, they wouldn't need to have like this huge agenda behind it. They'd be like, oh, let's meet for coffee and talk shit. But men would be like, oh, let's go hiking together or let's go like to racetrack together. Like they're more like it's a different kind of community that they would be creating. They would be like aiming for something. And I think that's like because of our background. But yeah, all of that is changing. Like you have men that have more feminine energy and women that have more masculine energy. And I
Yeah,
think in order to even survive in this world, if you want to be a successful woman, you need to have tons of masculine energy, or else
yeah,
you're not
absolutely.
gonna make it. It's a world created for men by men. So
And you need to constantly function in that energy, which is something that I was thinking about the other day. Does constantly being stuck in this energy, it will create chronic fatigue in a lot of women because it's an energy that's like, it's a testosterone type of energy. It's spent very quickly,
yeah,
and obviously it's proven that women have to sleep more than men. They need more hours of sleep. So, but we are doing the pace of men in terms of work, in terms of climbing the social ladder, the career ladder. And it's like we're expected to do exactly the same in terms of like effort. And
yeah,
I do see a lot of women, and maybe not just us, just everybody, all of my friends, everybody who I talk to, everybody's just so tired. I mean, our society per se is so tired, but I don't really get that of men as much. But obviously, like as you said, Marina, like men don't really, they're not really allowed to show these emotions the way we are showed. That's maybe the reason why. But it's just, it will create like per se a like wave of chronic fatigue, because you're constantly like, it's a constant actually state of stress, of high cortisol, having to like, so, having to just function in this mode, and never really stop to take a breath or to be with yourself, because you have to always think about like the next day and the next day and the next bill and the next rent, and it's like, it's very very exhausting.
No, I know myself, like being in this masculine energy, it's making me very angry. I become a very angry person. I'm constantly pissed off. And I was like, what's wrong with me? I'm just aggressive towards everything. I just want to smash everything around me. And I'm like, and then I was like, okay, no, I can't be this anymore. Like, because I'm like, my brain is like a list. It's like I have this list of all the things that I need to do. And I'm actually so frustrated because this is on my back, and I'm like, why do I have this list? Like, yeah, I get very angry, and then I go into like this absolute state of like fatigue, where I just can't. My body's like, no, we're not doing this. That's what too much of masculine energy does to my body. It's just like, and I lose touch with myself as well. It's kind of like, I don't know. It's like 50% of it is great. I can be like very motivated to go forward. I can be very driven. I can be very competitive. But too much of it is just like, ugh, no, no.
You get burnout really quickly, you go 5 days working in this energy, and then you just spend, like, your body literally will like refuse to cooperate, and then other things start, other symptoms start, and that's when I know that I have no choice. I have to like sleep for the whole weekend, and it's so bad, because I never thought I'd come to this. I always thought like, I'm quite young, like, that I shouldn't feel this. I should always be like 100%, but no, the body will
No.
like. And also we function, that's another thing, we function in cycles. Like, I know that
yes.
men, if I'm, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, men have a 24 testosterone cycle. I think it
Yeah,
kind of, yeah,
their hormones don't change. I mean, they
yeah,
change when they age, but
yeah,
like it's not like they change during the month.
yeah.
Like, no,
So we
that's
must not
just poor
forget
us.
the cycle process that's in between all of that,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, it's funny that we've been fighting like I mean like the whole womanhood or womanhood. We've been fighting for equal rights with men, like uh, but apparently like we just need the good side of it, yeah. So we need to have equal rights, but also we need to be like respected in terms of we are different. So like I guess it would be fair if we just we would have the equal payment at work, but we would work less hours. I think we would find it like perfectly fine. Yeah. Uh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's-
The company that I work for actually has this thing called menstrual leave. So when you have a
Is
really
it?
painful period, you can just call them and say, "Okay, I'm sorry, I can't come to work. I actually have a really bad case of
Oh,
like,
Do they
menstrual pain
actually
or
have that?
whatever or anything like." And I think they even have now menopause leave as well, like if you
oh,
have like bad
What?
symptoms. And I'm like, that's really advanced. It's an
Seriously?
Irish-based
yeah.
like Irish-owned company.
Yeah, I
So
didn't know. I
fair
didn't
play to
even
them.
know these things
You
exist.
know,
Like,
the
Yeah, and
the
it's
many
like I think
times
it's
you wanted that day to yourself,
yes, you
like,
need it.
mhm.
you just needed that one day, not two or three, just one day to just, please, I don't want to like go anywhere.
Yeah, they give you like
It's
12
amazing.
days a week of like menstrual leave, so you can choose when you want to take them, or
Oh, wow.
if you don't want to take them, you don't have to like. But it's
Oh,
like almost like 12 years extra of holidays. So I was like, that's
that's
fair
pretty
enough.
cool.
There's a lot of women
Oh my
leading
God.
that company, so I
That
think
is so good. Honestly, this
yeah.
is like the best. I have heard of that, but I haven't like realize that it's actually, well, obviously in some companies in Ireland it's obviously taken place, but it's good to hear that it's it's here. It's so
Yeah.
close. Hopefully, hopefully my company will have that. I hope
I
so.
was like thinking, there's like certain sports that are like completely male sports, like Formula One, for example. Like there was never a woman in Formula One ever, and it's such a tough sport and everything. And then you think like, okay, like a woman comes in and drives, and she wakes up one morning and she has really, really bad period pain, and you're like it's like our bodies sometimes just can't handle things that we would need to handle to be competitive against men.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That's why in a way, um, I don't like people comparing, oh, we're exactly the same, we should be exactly equal. No. Like obviously we should treat each other humanely and we should respect
Yes.
each other.
Yeah,
And that's a different
exactly.
story. But to be completely put on an equal pedestal, like to have exactly the same expectations, no.
It's almost
I
like
think it's
different
ridiculous.
pedestals. It's
Yeah.
almost like it's not one pedestal. It's
It's
different
different.
pedestals.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, true.
I mean,
Um,
obviously, like I really don't want it to sound like we're bashing them, and it's definitely like I don't want it to come across as that. It's just I think this this needs to be discussed because it's something that I can see a lot of women are discussing lately, but it's still something that you can't really I personally find I can't really discuss with a lot of people because I'm getting looks. I'm like, oh, what are you complaining about? What are you like?
no, I'm very happy to be living in this time and age with these rights, and I don't want them to be taken away. God forbid.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, but like I think we're still like as humanity, we're still growing. Like we had like the pendulum was like this, and now it's kind of like slowly moving towards here. So what I see in the world, like as women, we're like we had no rights, and we were like at the mercy of men. I think the pendulum is swinging towards the other side now, and it's probably not going to be long until like women start doing the same thing to men, and it's happening already. And I don't think that's fair, but this is kind of like a pendulum swing back, um and it's destroying men, actually.
It is.
It And I don't want
Uh,
to see that happening. Like, we, we need them.
no, definitely. I mean, like I'm sure none of us, they like I would hate to see that because I love men so much. I couldn't live without them. At the same time, it's. I think there's so much. How will I say this? There's so much energetical memory to what have been done to women all of these thousands and thousands of years that, as you said, there's the pendulum moving, and as the poles change on planet Earth, it's the same. Like, look at what's happening to America. America is really, that's only an example of how like the pendulum works. I think really, they've taken land from people that, and their land wasn't rightfully theirs, and now they're getting like a comeback.
Hmm.
They're getting like
Horrible.
they're undoing themselves. It's pretty similar these two energies how they. It's almost like you want to call it karma, you want to call it payback. I don't know. I think it's just a cycle. It's an energy
Yeah.
cycle that comes.
I don't know if that happened in Russia. I need your opinion now, Marina. But like what was happening in Croatia, what I was watching is like all these generations of women that were abused by men had sons, and then they destroy their sons. Like it was kind of like they were so angry with their husbands that they were like, no son of mine will treat a woman the way that my husband did. And then they just emasculated them. And the poor guys were like, there was nothing left of the masculinity in them. And they were thrown out in the world, and they don't know how to deal with women. They don't know who they are. Like, they're so traumatized. And there's the whole generation of men like this in Croatia. So I don't know if that happened in Russia.
Yeah, it's hard to say for the whole generation. I yeah, I can just say for the people I know, but yeah, about emasculation, yeah, it's just something quite heavy just came up for me. Yeah, like I'm not even sure if I can say it here, so I need a moment, like yeah,
Sure. Um,
yeah, maybe let's move on.
yeah, no, that's something that I noticed in Croatia. It's there was a lot of wars as well, so that I think contributed to the fact that women were like holding their sons so close, and out of fear of losing them. That was spreading through generations. Like, you know, in like my grandfather was like 97 when he passed away, and he survived 3 wars. So like
Mm.
crazy stuff, and there's a lot of generational trauma around that, and like
Yeah,
seeing
like
your
what?
son for the last time, and just and then like out of fear of him leaving into the unknown and possibly not returning, just
Mhm.
holding them too tight. But they didn't do the same with female children. Like,
Yeah, like
yeah,
what I can say about Russia is that like I saw lots and lots of men like within my family, friends and acquaintances who would be suppressing something, and this could result in any kind of consequences like alcoholism, drug addiction, etc., etc., like general incapability of doing something just because of these things that they had to suppress, like their emotions, like their talents, like because life was tough. Like we only had like the war which ended in 1945, so we
Second
are the
World War.
generation which are quite close to it, and
Yeah,
life was really tough. Like people had to work a lot, and there was a lot happening on the like higher like government level. All these shifts, like how the communism, etc., etc. So it's just there was no room to actual loving relationship between man and a woman. It was just like to create a couple. It was and to get married. It was more like a matter of survival. And I see a lot of I would see a lot of codependent relationship where men would be really kind of helpless and women would be really controlling. So they would be acting like glue, which holds everyone together, like everything together. Like they would be supposed to overlook the family and save their men from getting themselves drunk to death. These sorts of things, and yeah, especially in the smaller places like smaller villages where there's not many jobs and not that many things to do, so people just wouldn't know what to do with themselves. Like they would wake up, they would do their job, and then they would drink, and
yeah.
their women would control them and try to make them like survive till the next day. So that's about it.
That was generation of my parents as well. Men were almost. I don't think I know any of my friends like that had a father that wasn't like an alcoholic. Like it was such a rarity that you would be shocked if you saw like a man, like a guy that doesn't drink. You'd be like, what's wrong with him?
Yeah.
It's insane. And women were mostly like codependents. Like guys were narcissists, like aggressive drinking, and like women were mostly like codependents but also manipulative, so they would like manipulate the shit out of the guys and they wouldn't even like notice that. It's tons of toxic relationships. It's like,
Yeah, so there's just no space for a woman to actually open up as a like in the this beautiful feminine energy because they had to be like tough, they had to control everything, work hard to make it all like being in place. And for the men
yeah,
as well, they didn't have somehow space to be like real men, let's say.
crazy stuff. I had this, I don't think
Yeah.
it's funny, it's a more tragic thing that happened to me the other day. I was I'm studying like family constellations at the moment, and there was this section about creating a family crest. And I'm like sitting there and I'm like, okay, thinking about my father's family side, and I'm like, what symbol would I put in this crest? And the first, imagine like this, the first thing that came to my mind was a bottle of booze. It's like, no. It's like, because there was generation of alcoholics, like even my grandfather, my grandmother, they were both like drinking themselves to death. They would like pass out in the house. Like they had kids, and then kids started drinking with them when they were like 12 or 13. Like they were alcoholics at that age. It's insane. And like I see my father, he does not know how to show emotions until he gets drunk. Like when I see him, like when he, like even when he's like loving me and he would want to tell me that he loves me, he can't until he gets drunk.
Yeah,
And
it's
I'm
like
like,
almost like an excuse. Oh, I'm drunk. I can say whatever I want. When I'm sober, I'm just not allowed.
yes,
It's
and
like
I don't get it. It's like, and the way that when, you know, when he gets drunk and then when he comes with to me with this love, I'm like, get the fuck out. Like I don't want this love. This is awful. Like it's not like even proper love. It's kind of mushed up with everything, with pain, with suffering. When I'm like, wow. It's like I can't handle it. Like I can't.
Yeah,
You feel like he's coming to you with love, but you have to hold it because he can't,
I
and
know.
you can't even hold it because like it's too much. I'm like, wow. And it's there's no way to fix this anymore. That's like 70 years of this.
Yeah.
It's, you know, it's impossible.
maybe fix 2% the entire personality, entire like learning. It's difficult, and it's the only time where they can actually. It feels like they unload 70 years of emotions on you in that moment, and you know,
Like,
and you're like,
do I do want all
yeah,
this? Like,
what do you
thank you
do?
so much, Dad. I love you too, but I don't know what to do with all this. Like, it's like it's scary almost. Like, yeah.
It is
And
really scary.
uh,
I'm no stranger to that. Like, uh, same here. Like, my dad was still is an avid alcoholic, you know, and it's, you know, the only time he has ever shown emotion is through exactly what you described. And it's just like, you know, how do you deal with it? You know, first of all, like your father figure is completely disfigured,
yes.
you know, and then his mother as well. His mother was an avid alcoholic as well. Like she was trying to numb her emotion, and then it's just kind of, you know, it's just what it is. It goes on back generations, and there's so, I mean, I don't know about now. There's also lots of problematic families, I suppose, still in their own way. But with the parts that we're coming from, definitely, you know, the women were just left on basically on the mercy of just having to like pick up the pieces of, and it's horrible, and it's just not the only example out there. I'm sure there's many people around us that, like, you know, they would tell exactly the same, you know, the same experiences. First of all, like, not it hurts a lot, like not having a father figure, but then when you have it and it's completely like unstable, you know, it's even worse.
It's almost like a children's energy. That's what I always
Yeah.
felt from my father. I never felt like he was masculine. I never felt like he was like a provider. He always felt like, because I could just feel through it's like I have that ability to actually feel through the person and actually get to their core. I always saw him like this small boy that was so insecure and that was so like fragile, his ego
Yeah.
fragile. And he was just like trying to put this big mask over him where he was like tough,
Yeah,
and
they
and
always
he
do
couldn't
that. Yeah.
sustain it. So he had to
Yeah.
drink because he just couldn't handle the mask. The mask was too heavy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's not fair for a child to have to handle their parents' emotions, but sometimes it's just what we have to do as children because our parents just don't know how to show up for us and for themselves, first of all, because they're still young and they're still figuring stuff out for themselves. And yeah, and I think it's important to understand that they did their absolute best, like with what they had, with whatever potential they had, whatever issues they had, like even if they hurt us somehow, if and how it wasn't intentional most of the time. I don't talk about like some horrible exceptions, but yeah, mostly our parents wouldn't be perfect, and it is how it is. There's a lot of healing to do there.
I
No,
always
my
say
dad
like
was like,
they did their best with the tools that they had.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
obviously, like, if you don't know something, you can't apply it, you know? It wasn't taught. Like, okay, you can read books, you can have a bit of common sense and critical skill thinking. But when you're just like used to I think it's also a type of habit that you just definitely to say they didn't try their best. Yeah, they definitely tried their best, but they just didn't have the tools or the knowledge or the maybe the emotional strength to like look, you know, to introspect and look into themselves
yeah,
to try and change at least. You know, it's just a vicious, and it's a
sometimes,
vicious circle as well.
yeah, sometimes there's like agendas as well, you know, like
Yeah,
what I notice around my father is like that um he really wanted us all to be together, and like I think he had this understanding that he's not the nicest person to be around. And then from the effort of us never leaving, he just tried to destroy our self-confidence. And that was a way for him to make this beautiful family that where everybody was together. And it's insane, you know? But it's probably the way that his parents raised him as well, you know? He had to learn
and
that
the
from
parents
someone.
before, and like I always think like how far does that behavior go? Or like was it worse? You know, because there's always like a child that kind of turns out a bit better than the parents. And like you
Yeah.
wonder how long. Imagine what the parents of the parents did. Like could it probably was. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't, but I don't
I
want to
heard
like even think.
stories from my dad about like what his dad did to him, and some of the things were borderline like, you know, proper sadistic shit.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
he was obsessed with like kind of teaching them to, you know, like my grandfather was like from a very poor family, so his entire life was revolved around making a, you know, a name for himself and buying a house and being someone in the world. So like he wanted to make sure that his children are as well somebody. And I think there was a story where he would wake up in the morning and he would, you know, the shoe cream that you have, the black stuff that you polish
yeah.
your shoes with. So he would take that and put it on my dad's face, because there was no mirrors at that time, to make sure that he will wash his face in the morning, because my dad didn't like that. So he would like put like a shoe polish cream on his face.
Wow.
It's proper sadistic shit. So like I can imagine there was plenty of other things that he did. And no wonder that this was the only kind of love that my dad had the ability to give, you know? But that's toxic masculinity, right?
Yeah, that
That's
is.
what we, you know,
But
that's what women were fighting against. They weren't fighting against masculinity. They were
yeah,
fighting against this oppressive, toxic
yeah,
masculinity.
absolutely. They weren't like, you know, they were just fighting against sadism, against abuse. That's,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, it's that's not too much to us. Like my grandmother, she grew up in a family of 12, also came from a very poor family. They grew up in the village, and would never tell us stories until now. She's gotten to an age, she's 84, and she's suddenly telling us all these stories. And I was asking, how is your mother? How's your father? I mean, my great grandfather, my great grandmother. And she would always say the father was an alcoholic, obviously. And he would just come home, he would beat us all up, all 12 of us, including and rape the mother. And then she'd obviously have another child. And my mother hated him, but that was just the way it was. It was just like, and she just opened up one day, and I just couldn't believe that. Oh my God, like we were held back when she said that. And it was like, that was like life, and she said to me, this is a woman that comes from a very like traditional background. She says, I hated him with all of my guts. And I never forgave for like what he did to my mom and all of my siblings, basically. So like imagine so obviously that gets encapsulated into your DNA.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
it's carried on. Like even though if sometimes you have thoughts and you're like, why do I have this thought, or why do I feel this way? Or it's just like looking back of all the trauma, it's no surprise, all the DNA trauma, I mean. Like, obviously, I wouldn't
Yes.
be around for that sort of trauma, thank God. But yeah.
No, this really, really, really gets into our DNA. Even like your sexual preferences are affected with these things. Like, it's insane. And I had similar things. Like, I had some kind of memories that weren't mine, that were like haunting me for a while. And then I realized, like, they're not my memories. They're actually memories of my late grandmother that I never got to meet. She passed away before I was born. And I was like, why do I have these memories? Why am I fearing something so much? And I was like, oh, okay, I get it. And it was revolved around rape. And I was like, fucking hell. Like,
Yeah.
crazy stuff.
It travels through like DNA. It's crazy. Like we can, as you say, you can have certain thoughts and memories that you're like, or irrational fears of something that you're like,
Yes.
I never dealt with this before. Like it doesn't, like, no, as far as I know, I'm not really afraid of that, or I don't really think about that. But it's just like it also like an embryo memory, as I like to call it.
I read something as well from like family constellations, and it said sometimes when you give your child a name of the ancestor, that child kind of gets to share a bit of destiny, like a bit of like story with that person. And my name is Anna Maria. I've been named after my two grandmothers. I've been actually named like after my two grandmothers, and I was like, thank you very much. Like, there's so much shit to clean up here. I don't even know where to begin. Like, but I think I can be thankful to the fact that they were both incredibly strong, both of my grandmothers, and this is where my strength is coming from in a way. Yeah, is I can use this energy now for something better. But like, they had awful lives, like really, really, like probably Anna had worse life than the other one. So, but that's not my primary name. So.
But like imagine having a descendant now that is so aware of that and can completely transmute and turn things around. Like they wish they could do that. They probably weren't allowed to,
It's magic. I
It is
had
magic,
this
yes.
I did this psychology school, but it was like heavily revolved around like ancestral stuff. And I remember like we were doing this thing like imagining that, we're doing something and then there's our ancestors behind us. And the first thing I can visualize is my grandmother, the one that I never got to meet, putting her hand on my shoulder and being like, you can do it. And it was so much support. I was like, wow, like I never got to meet this woman and she's actually supporting me. Like she's cheering for me. It's crazy. And then I got to actually do some of the things that, they would just weren't able to because of the age that they were living in. And I was like, I did it for you. We have our degree. Yeah,
Yes,
it's
like
very
thinking of all
emotional.
these lives, like grandmothers, grandmothers, even parents, like what their lives could have been if like the world hadn't been so difficult and cruel sometimes. It's like I did a sort of energetic workshop last Sunday, not to get into much details, but it was like related to mediumship and ancestral stuff, like working with your ancestors, like live or dead, and like what came up to me, it was like such a huge amount of grief, and I couldn't even relate. Like I couldn't even figure out if it's mine or if it's theirs, and like I can perfectly explain where it can be coming from. So yeah, like all these lives that they could have lived, like all this joy and happiness that they had missed because of the reality. Yeah, and I think like, yeah, we do have to acknowledge and process this grief somehow, and but then ultimately, like our main task in this world is to be happy in their honor, like to be able to actually enjoy our lives and be grateful for what we have, like that we don't have to work that hard. Like we still do have to work, but it's becoming more intellectual probably, and like discover what else we can do rather than just survive. And like the relationship became more empathetic, more like I think the relationship have gone on a different level. Even if we compare to past like one or two generations, we are more aware of each other. We are like more emotionally intelligent, and like there's just more space for joy and like just enjoying being a woman.
Yeah,
Being free.
being free.
Because
Because
we
Yeah.
are, I
yeah,
always loved that. Ever since I was born, I didn't feel treated differently because of my gender. I was like, I never felt that I was treated differently. And maybe I was lucky in all of my trauma that I experienced. There was one that I didn't. One. Yeah, I never felt like I'm limited because of my gender. Like, never ever. I was like, I can do anything the hell I want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. It's so
I,
important.
I didn't have like a similar experience for a reason, especially when I became a teenager, I was always targeted, you know,
Mm.
and especially because really like to express my opinion in a group of, people, women, men, like whoever. And like my opinions always differed from a bigger group. And I was like, especially by men, or they would often say like stuff like, you need to shut up, your opinion, they're not welcome. They're too different, a woman shouldn't be thinking that, saying that, like, where did you get that from? So I often experience that like a um constant backlash, like constantly. And my opinions weren't like particularly, controversial. They were just like, I was just so enthusiastic and passionate about expressing them always. But they would get such backlash. Sometimes I say it's my karma, because I always say like probably there's something happened in one of my past lives that maybe I've done something. That's what I like to believe, because like, you either like, because I found people that would be as enthusiastic about expressing their opinions, especially in a group of men, and they weren't getting as much backlash. And it's something that like followed me. I think my early 20s were the worst for that. I just felt, especially when I would be dating, constantly like, do not open your mouth. Just do not say anything. Like if we come, I was once told when I think I was 19, that like I am absolutely not to talk in a group of men, because I seem like superior than my then boyfriend. And he hated that so much.
My
He's like,
God.
you need to shut up. I was told that I need to keep quiet and just nod my head basically. And that like followed me for a very long time. Now, obviously, I've changed that around a lot by like choosing like who I surround myself to wisely. But yeah, it was very, I don't know, maybe I just found myself unfortunate enough to be in this environment. Because obviously, everybody like, maybe it depends, maybe it just really depends on the company or the people that perhaps I grew up with people that weren't like very like high vibrational, so to speak. They weren't like cultivated lots of understanding and empathy and encouraging someone to express themselves, I suppose.
It's perhaps also it's I think there was probably some kind of gap in your self-confidence where you
Yeah.
were like thinking maybe I shouldn't be saying this or maybe I shouldn't be feeling like this. And then like it's funny, like sometimes people just attack us because they see they can,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know? Like
true,
it's
true.
like there's this beautiful woman and she's also smart, and I'm not gonna allow that. Like I feel threatened by this, you know? And yeah, I was too
It's
aggressive, so
also
they didn't want to
you
shush
said it
me.
very well when you say like you allow, because you actually allow certain behaviors. And even though you say like, yeah, but I don't want people to like talk to me like that or behave, but your energy like gives them the opportunity to, they feel like they can do it to you. Because if they feel like they can't do it to you, they won't,
Yes,
obviously. You
I
know, so that's well said actually. Yeah, it's kind of makes me think.
I had this friend. She was like the most beautiful woman I ever saw in my life. Like the first time when I saw her, I was like, "How are you even human?" Like she was so beautiful, and men feel incredibly threatened by her. Like when they date her, um, it's like she had men telling her she's ugly, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And the worst part is like she would believe them, and then she would be coming to me, and she's like, "Anna, am I ugly?" And I'm like, and I'm like completely in the state of shock. I was like, "How can you even like believe this?" And they would just put her down, and I was like, "It's because they're afraid of losing you, so they need to put you down,
Yeah.
just so you don't think good well about yourself in a way that you would like leave because maybe you deserve better." Tricky stuff. And
Tricky, tricky.
she's still surrounding herself with men like that, and it's incredible. She they even don't allow her to post pictures on Facebook.
You know
And
what?
I'm
Like
like,
you really come to a point where you like you have to acknowledge that you're doing this and you're actually attracting such people towards you. And it really comes to a point and an age in your life when you have to like when you have to stop allowing it, um when you have to self-analyze and say, okay, you know, I'm doing this to myself. I'm basically self-sabotaging myself with these
yeah,
relationships. And then you like have to rationally just tell yourself, okay, it's this is ending. This is not like happening anymore. I've done that to myself, and my life has gotten so much better ever since I said I am not doing this anymore. This is not gonna be the norm, and I don't care if people like that keep coming. I'm just not even gonna give them 5 minutes of
no,
entertainment,
it's
and
like,
that's it.
thank
It's
you
like
for your
it's
opinion, goodbye.
thank you for your opinion.
And it's like crazy.
Mhm.
You know, constructive opinion I and critique I'm always really happy to hear because I can improve myself through that, like through like constructive feedback. But like if someone is like, you know, shushing you, there's nothing to talk about here anymore. Like, you know, and
And
people sometimes have fragile egos, and it's easier to work on the other person than on yourself.
it's interesting as well, like like, no matter how pretty you are or how whatever, you know, there's always those who's you know, if you're surrounded yourself with very toxic people, it's even then they're gonna like take out these little flaws and they're gonna magnify them, exaggerate them. Like them telling your friend that she was ugly, even though she was, as you said, like how was she,
I was
like how is she human, you know?
I was like, you should be a model. Like, you
Yeah.
should just get money for being beautiful. Like, like you've been born like this, and like, why aren't you like getting money for this? Like, like why are you working in like a restaurant? Like, no, her mom abused her really badly. Her mom was
Oh,
really bad to her, and I think she had this really bad self confidence issue that just never healed, and she just unfortunately I was the only person that was not threatened by her beauty. Like it was so bad. Like I couldn't believe this stuff. Like we had other friends that were actually so jealous of her, and I was like, because when we would show up somewhere, all the guys would run towards her.
yeah,
It
yeah.
was crazy. Like, but I was like, it's okay. Like, I'm not gonna be jealous of another woman for being beautiful. Like, it's it's an honor for me to be
It's
in
your,
her.
yeah, yeah. To be in her presence, it's an honor, actually.
Yeah, it's like I will support her. Like, I will make sure that she knows that she's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
'Cause that's what we should do. Yeah. And I was like, I'm smart, so I'll get my guys with my smart ass brain. And I did. I always got whoever I wanted. So there we go.
Yeah, the appearance is like it does matter sometimes a lot, but it's so much about energy, like what kind of vibes you spread, and like you were talking about these guys who would poke on her. Like I heard a few days ago, like there was this kind of research, and people would approach the criminals, like maniacs who were in prison, and they would present them with the pictures of people. Like there was a lot of participants there, and they were all presented with the same pictures of people, men or women, doesn't matter. And the maniac would have to choose like whom he would approach, like to victimize, and all the people who were chosen, they had the same features, and like I don't there was four of them. Two of them that I remember is lack of boundaries and low self-esteem. So it doesn't matter how you look, it doesn't matter how tall are you, etc. But if you don't have boundaries, if you have low self-esteem, people would sense it. And yeah, even if they are not maniacs, like we do have, all of us has this kind of dark side. And if we are around someone whom we sense as weak, somehow we would poke on them. Like I can admit that I may have done that because I'm not perfect either. So yeah, somehow it can be just, and if the person is different than you, it's like it is a threat itself when the person is different than you, and you are afraid that you will be defeated or something. And yeah, that's when it happens. Like why children are bullied at school. Like I was bullied a lot in school because yeah, I was kind of a bit weird child. I was very shy. I did have low self-esteem, I have to admit. Like I was convinced that I was ugly and fat, like because yeah, like children at school, they wouldn't care. Like they would call you fat just because they feel like it. It doesn't matter how thin you are. So I was convinced that I was fat, that I was ugly, that no one wants to be friends with me, and like people could do whatever they want. And yeah, so, and this lack of boundaries, like it's probably fear of loneliness. Like some people, including myself, would have preferred, like I would have preferred to tolerate with some abusive behaviors rather than walk away, because I was just convinced that this is what I deserve, and this is better than being alone, because like that's what society expect of us, to be in someone's company. Like when we are kids, we want to be surrounded by friends, or like no matter how good these friends are, like you are in a gang, you're okay. Like you're on your own, you're not okay. So, and then it kind of transmits to a relationship with men, like when the woman would tolerate something just because she is afraid to be on their own, or she wouldn't survive on their own. Like
Crazy.
yeah.
I have a funny confession to make.
Yeah.
It's something that I realized that was part of my personality for such a long time that I never really fully understood. So I have issues with finishing things. And it's very hard for me to finalize something. Like it's all fine while I'm struggling and fighting for something to achieve something, but to actually get it done, it's so hard. And I never fully understood why until I actually finished something recently. And I realized that when I was a child, and watching my parents have their dysfunctional marriage, I was kind of like taught to be an independent woman, to get a degree, to be successful in business, to have my own money, and finishing things actually means getting to that point. So getting to that point of being this successful woman that doesn't need a man, and I actually didn't want that. So I was literally trying to get myself not to get to the point, where I was heading, because that would mean that I need to be alone. Because being a successful woman means that you don't have a partner. And I didn't want to be alone. So it was like a self-sabotaging thing, of like, you're not gonna achieve success because then you don't need anyone anymore. And I still want to need someone.
Yeah.
I still want to be loved.
That thing to be taught that you're gonna be alone if you discover your passion or your hobbies, or you climb up the career ladder.
It's almost like my mom wanted this for me. Like she was like, like don't mind yourself with marriage and kids, having kids, or like finding partner. That's not important. Like no. You go your way. You become like this rich, successful woman.
That's good.
And I was
really
like, part of me was terrified with that thought. I'm like, I don't want to become this person. Like, this person is like, she's not a nice person. She's like this image of this woman that you implanted in my head. Like, she's not a nice person. She's cruel. She's a bad person. Like, she's a backstabber. She's aggressive. She's like stepping on men. Like, this is not me. So I was like actually trying not to get there, because I will then become this woman. And then I was like, what the fuck, Anna? Like, you can still be loving and nice and be successful.
Yeah,
like,
and
you can
that,
still have
yeah,
someone
yeah.
love you. And it's like a child's thought. And it stayed with me for 38 years. Wow.
Yeah, it's almost like you kind of want to be average, in order to
But
be
loving.
part of something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but to be loved. Because like if I am if I step forward too much, there's no one with me anymore. I am alone. Like,
Yeah.
and like obviously a part of me was like, I don't want to be alone.
It's like we are taught if we do that, then sorry, I just had to get my laptop charger because like my laptop was gonna die.
No worries.
So yeah, because we are taught if we, if we seek that. I mean, at least back then. Now I don't know. Could be different now. Definitely.
I think it's a weird dream that our ancestors, our mothers and our grandmothers had, because they were so pissed off at men. So
Yeah.
being that person meant they have power now, right? But it's not something that, I think I was, I went to a lot of therapies, so I got to the point where I could connect with my partners, and where I could feel love and I can give love, and it's something that is really important for me. So if I can't have that, no money or no success can actually, make up for that. Like, I don't want to be this sad, lonely woman with tons of money. It's like I still do wanna, even if all my relationships fail, I don't give a damn. I'll never give up. I'll still be looking for love. Like, it's something that, it's important for me. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we were parts of tribes, so it's not like we only had our partners like before, up, in the older times. Like we had a lot of people that were our resources, so we had, we had the whole tribe as our resource. And now, like, there's more and more people getting like more and more lonely. It's really hard to make contacts with people. Everything is online. Dating is online as well. Like, God, like I'm 38, thank God, like I don't have to use dating apps, but this is just a disaster. Like it's since how do
Oh,
people meet anyone anymore?
I can tell something about that.
I want to hear the
Please
stories.
do, please do. We
I
were
want to
looking
hear the
forward to hear.
stories. I
Yeah,
have some to say as well.
yeah, it is difficult. Like there has to be like, oh, Stella disappeared.
Stella's
No, no, no.
camera
I'm
disappeared.
still here. I'm just
Okay.
setting up something on my laptop here. Sorry, but keep going. I'm listening.
Yeah, like about dating, like you do have to have really like positive mindsets and like it's so easy to just slide into negativity when you're out there, especially on these dating apps, because like you don't see people and people don't see you. It's only like this like a one-dimensional projection that they see of you, like what the profile that you maintain and like a few messages that you exchange. And like, yeah, most conversations are just shallow and it's hard to connect with somebody unless you actually pick up the phone and call the person or go and
Yeah.
meet up. Uh, but yeah, it's just, and like, it's hard to get this spark, like when you do meet people, like I can meet plenty of nice guys. Like I can't say everyone out there is an asshole and not interested, etc. But it's just sometimes there's just no romantic interests. So it takes time to actually meet someone with whom you click. And I can't remember why I actually started. I wanted to say something positive, but yeah, I meant to say that. Yeah, I meant to say it's important. Like I figured it just recently how important it is to stay true to your values, no matter of all that. Because like as soon as you find something that actually sparks your interest, like on whatever level, like sexual or energetic, sometimes it's just there is this kind of urge to not to settle, but to sometimes to betray your values. For example, you want different things with the guy, like one person wants kids, another person doesn't. And you kind of like, okay, I'll see what happens. And then 3 months into the relationship, you discover that you're so fucked. Like you're already kind of,
Or
You're
yeah,
worse,
dating a wrong
or
guy.
worse, I've known
yeah,
people that have been together for around 7, 10 years only to break up over that.
yeah. It's like
It's crazy. Yeah, even then, like imagine, I can't imagine like spending years with the wrong person.
yeah, I mean, sometimes you just, over the years, the love fades away or something,
Yeah.
but the most important that the basic values should align and it has to be clear as soon as the first date or even before, like well, as soon as the first phone call, and some people would actually be afraid to talk about it because somehow it's like there is an opinion that you shouldn't even mention this before you actually are in the relationship that you want kids because the person would be scared away. But I think if the person has the same values as you, they wouldn't be scared away. Like if you mention that ultimately you want, for example, family and kids, it's not doesn't have to be right now, but ultimately that's what I want. And if there is a person out there whom I'm meant to meet, then they wouldn't be scared of it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. That makes sense, 100%. Like I think it's possibly a waste of time if you date someone that there's some kind of like negotiable things and some non-negotiable
Yeah.
things that you can have in relationships, like some kind of like core values that if they're not there,
Hmm.
it's too different. Like,
Yeah.
and I've been like in long relationships, so I had one that was 7 and now I'm in one that's 14. So I can
14.
tell you if the core values, like if the the main things that you need to have in common are not there, you will never meet. Like you will be so, everybody's gonna be on their own, that there's never gonna be a moment to meet. I, I don't know if that makes sense, but like, when you get into this routine of work and normal life, so there's, where we're not anymore like in the first year of love when you're like constantly in romance. No, like you work, you have your ambitions, and then there has to be like time for you both to be together. And if there's no glue, you will just split. And the glue is like these basic things, like these main things that are important to you. So like for example, like I'm not good for long distance relationships. I can't do them. Like I need someone to be here for me. Like if they're not here for me, I need to find other resources. That's just who I am. I need support. Like, so like if someone is gonna be having like a lot of different interests than me, and we're gonna be spending a lot of time apart, it's not gonna work. It just can't work for me. I'll find someone else. It's just who I am. Like I can't be alone for too long. Like I find I'm very good at finding resources for myself. Like not just love resources, but like whatever. Like I'm very good with knowing my needs and fulfilling them. And if someone is like away from me like 6 months a year, like, so if I'm gonna have a band, I need to have that guy in the band as well traveling with me, because it's not gonna work.
Well, I would say I think I could survive 6 months a year and I wouldn't suffer too much. Like I like to be on my own.
No.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I can't like be moaning about my shit to you every day, we're probably not gonna be able to be together.
phone. Like I do it at work like 8 hours a day. Like obviously now because like it's different, because it's a once-off situation that happens and it's fun, But if I would have to just be glued to my phone and be glued to a video every single day, because obviously I have a responsibility towards this person.
Yeah.
I did it once, and it was very bad. I really did not enjoy it, and obviously I broke it off then.
When
I
I was
wasn't
a
able to
kid,
handle it. Like fair play to people that handle it really.
when I was a kid, I used to follow my mom around, even to the toilet, telling her I love her. And I still have this kind of personality, so I need to, I'll have to like, I literally have to manage myself, or else I'll be doing that to people. Like texting someone that I love them every day, it's just not the same
Yeah.
thing. I'd be like, hello, what are you doing? I love you.
This is cute.
I
Like
know,
it's
I'm sometimes cute.
it's different from like one message or just a message or just something quick, but like having to be glued to like a video for I think that's like a lot. I mean, a lot of people do it. But for example, they're in bed and they're like video chatting for hours. Like first of all, I don't want the phone near me when I'm like I want to fall asleep. I turn it off, I put it away, and I don't want like any. Like obviously sometimes I would have insomnia and I would scroll, like when you go
Yeah.
scrolling social media,
Oh
and you're
God.
like you can't sleep. But like when my intention is to sleep or to at least try and get a good night's sleep, like electronics are not going anywhere near me. I will be
Yeah.
that crazy person that puts on airplane mode, you know, and puts the phone away.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
It is.
I should start doing this actually because like the last thing I see before I go to sleep is my phone, and first thing I see when I wake
Yeah,
up is again my phone. Like I want to change this habit. I just don't know how.
I think there's those type of clocks. Actually, my partner got such a clock as well. It's, it's one of those like old school ones that they have a very annoying ringtone, to wake you up, basically.
Yeah.
But there's other things that, but it's not like the nice phone, like dee, 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 dee. It's like
No,
the
it's like
like
"Durr."
very bad one. Yeah. But I think you can maybe get some with nice music. I've seen some on Amazon because I was looking at that myself because I'm
Some kind
like,
of baby
there's
clock
no,
would be great for me.
yeah, because like there's no way like I'm going to sleep with this thing in my face and I'm waking up first thing I have to turn off my alarm. It's we're such slaves to that,
Yeah.
Are.
you know?
I'm awful with technology because like I do a lot of like managing a lot of social media even for the
Yeah,
band,
yeah.
and then I'm always feeling like if I'm not there, if there's a gig offering or something, like I'm gonna miss it, and I'm pretty much like the one that does all this for the band, so I'm like shit. But I literally like I just need to like manage the time, like
Yeah.
have the time on social media, but like sometimes like I'm not even doing anything. I'm really not doing anything. I'm just like, and then I'm look at this food from I don't know, like I'm never gonna eat this. Or like, oh look, this guy, he's like making I don't know a shelf or something. I was like,
Or the
God,
most,
Anna.
yeah, the most, and you get the worst thing of all is like I'm slave to that as well. Like I get sucked into these like
Mm.
reels, and it's crazy. Like the other day, I caught
TikTok is the
myself
worst.
an hour. My arm was like, like atrophied, like
Dead.
this holding this phone. Like it's so bad.
So who has the funny stories from dating apps? I
Oh,
have one. I only
I
have
think
one that I remember. There was this guy on the app that I obviously didn't swipe. He said it said like the first drink is of me. Is on me if you're drinking water. Do
what the
you
fuck?
Wow.
expect someone to actually go on a date with you?
Yeah, I don't understand this thing like the first drink is on me. Like, well, like, does it mean that the second drink is on me then? Like, I want you to pay. Like,
I am
I
very old
don't.
fashioned with these things. If you're not
Yeah,
paying for everything on the first date, you're not gonna see me again.
yeah,
It's
would
just
be. Yeah, it's like for me, it's the matter of what does the guy pursue actually. If I'm okay to pay for myself, if we both understand that this isn't going anywhere, like I
yeah.
would even be more comfortable with that
Yes.
because yeah, in this case, like we don't owe each other anything, but like I would say like how would I be? I wouldn't expect anyone to pay for me. I would want it because otherwise, if there is some sort of awkwardness and hesitation, like of course I would offer to split. And
Of course. Yeah.
yeah, but if the guy agrees, this will be definitely a turn off for me. Like if we split the bill, it means we shake hands and go home like in
Bye
a very
bye.
friendly, yeah, like stay friendly. That's it. I know that this may not be everyone's cup of tea. I understand like the rationale behind like guys saying, "Oh, we have to be like equal partners." And I know couples who like very successfully built the relationship, even though like they would pay, uh, they would split every little bill. Like this is just what the guy prefers, and the girl will just play along with it. Otherwise, they have like a beautiful, loving relationship, but it's just not for me. And I believe I shouldn't even, I don't even have to explain myself because this is just the way I work. Like,
If this is our first date, like if you're paying for something for me, you are showing me that you're interested in actually investing in me, right? It's more like of an energy, right? So you want to invest into relationship with me. Like,
yeah,
and then later, like if we do have a relationship, I have nothing against splitting everything in half. Like, and I would probably insist on it. Like, I'm not gonna let guy pay for everything. I mean, or
If,
you're gonna take me out on a dinner, and I'll take you out on a dinner. Like,
and like yeah, for me it would be like I wouldn't mind splitting bills for the household or for like any big expenses. Like I'm actually a generous person. Like I can buy
same.
an expensive present for like a boyfriend or whoever is close to me, and I can make a dinner. I can make some surprise, but if it comes to going out, like for me, it's just my thing. Like if I go out with a man, I like I feel awkward just taking my wallet out and doing this. Okay, like let's split this number. Like I just want the man to grab the bill like before it even touches the table, and that's the only way. But that really works for me. Like
Yeah, yeah. No, it's showing kind of. I don't know. Like I like the strong masculine energy. Like in a way, like not toxic masculinity, but like this strong nurturing masculine energy.
yeah,
It's like if a guy opens the door for me, if he opens I'm like I'm not gonna argue with that. Please do open the door for me.
yeah.
It's like that's actually attractive. That gets my engines going. But if he's like, oh, shall we split this? I'm like,
Yeah.
Just
see, even when
instantly
like when you
dry
play
in the
Sims
desert.
and you open the fridge and there's nothing in the fridge because you have no money, and the fridge goes wow wow wow. I have this
Yeah,
sound
yeah.
in my head.
No, I think if and and that really reminds me, I have a friend, she's 40 and she's been trying this like dating in Germany, which is it, you've probably heard of stereotypes of how Germans are.
No, I actually don't know.
I
Okay.
I know some German people like they are weird in this sense. Like, but what is the what that
So
stereotype is?
basically like all of the dating revolves around no one actually wants to go grab a coffee because she wants to go and grab a coffee, or a drink. One, not two. We're not talking about like just one. And they all just want to go for a walk or they
Mhm.
want to go hike, which I think
Okay.
it's weird because like you would want to just sit, and we were discussing, me and her, like why are they doing this?
I
Like,
am not going
and
on a hike with a guy I don't know. He may kill me in the
yeah, but
forest.
it's probably because and every time she tried to suggest, okay, let's maybe go to a cafe, it's nearby, like, oh, and they're like, no, 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 I would rather prefer a walk around the cafe, but not sit in the cafe because I think that like they don't even like to feel the responsibility or even like a €5 coffee, and that is bad. I'm sorry, that
Yeah.
is
Oh my
bad.
God. No, I'm not
It's
walking with a
horrible.
guy I'm meeting for the first time. He may walk me into a strange street and steal my kidneys. I am not walking with anyone I don't know. Like, we're meeting in a public place in front of tons of people
Yeah, yeah,
in the
yeah.
place of my choosing as well, because I don't know if you're a weirdo. Like,
No, if you're in Germany, you're gonna be invited for a walk
no.
or a hike. It's like
No.
no, no way. I'm sorry. Like even let's leave the like expenses aside, but like walking with a stranger, that no, I'm sorry. I could be
I
murdered.
don't know
You know,
you. I
I
can't
don't know.
walk with you. I don't know you.
Yeah, no way. But that only shows you if someone um if if someone creates an issue even over like a five, let's say, okay, an espresso is maybe like 2, 3 euros. If someone makes an issue over that, you can only imagine how what an issue it's gonna be later on. Like when big things come in life, when kids come, when it's a thing to look out for. And I don't want to be picky. I don't want to nitpick at everything because maybe like, but I think it's a big deal. I wouldn't let it pass for sure.
Some guys are just very practical. Before they know that they like you, they wouldn't, let's say, put them
Invest in you.
at risk of paying this €5 for nothing. Like, so yeah, that it
It's a
is how it
strange
is.
world. It's a
I,
strange
ha- I, ha-
world. It's
I had an experience once where I was on a date and we had a coffee and basically the guy was like putting up the cents, the coins, at like 10 cents, 20 cents. And he kept going. And then at one point I was like, you know what? I can't look at this. I'm gonna pay. Please let me pay. Because I can't deal with this right now. And he's like, no, 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 no. You pay yours and I'll pay it with my cents.
Oh my God.
And I was like, dude, like I literally have 10 euros. Like, it's okay, I'll pay for it. And he's
It's
like,
good
no,
that
no,
he
no,
didn't offer you to give you the cents to you and you
no.
pay.
Okay,
And you
at
get a
least he was
jar.
like, at least he was chivalrous enough to like cover his 10 cents one by one. And he was doing this,
I am
and even the
terrified.
waiter was like, what's going on?
Oh wow.
I don't know. I was just even like, please, this is torturing me. Like, can you, okay, at that stage, I was like, you know what? I'll just pay and I'll get out of here. I don't mind. I don't care. It's only 10 euros. Come on. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna die over it, you know. But
I
And
no,
mean,
thankfully, it's
it
not,
was
they're
really,
not all like that. It's like,
yeah.
no, no.
No, I think there was just an extreme case, I guess,
No,
because
women
like
are
most
weird
of
as
them,
well.
I
I
had I
dated
had good experiences,
I dated some
But
women as well, and they were freaking weird. I went on a
really,
date with this girl in Belfast, and she was late an hour and a half.
an hour and a
and
half.
did you wait for her all this 1.5
No,
hours?
I went for a coffee, and then she just found me later because I was like, I'm already here, so what am I gonna do with my life? I'm just gonna go and grab myself a coffee.
Did you
Yeah.
and
travel?
and she was like, I am so sorry, like I rarely drive and I couldn't find the parking. She was driving around Belfast for an hour and a half. I was like, I'm not from here either, like I drove myself fine.
Wow.
Oh my god, I was like, seriously, an hour and a half you're late. And I was like, and my attitude was already like, I'm not talking to you, like.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we've just seen each other once and we've never seen each other again. Like
Of
God.
course.
An hour and a half. I'm surprised you still stayed in that place.
No, I just like I went to go shopping and stuff. So I was waiting for like 40 minutes and I was like texting her like, are you coming? I was like, is this a catfish? Have I been catfished? And she's like, no, 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 I'm coming. And I'm like, it's like, you know what? Like, I'm grabbing myself coffee. It was early morning. We were supposed to meet like at 10 a.m. or something.
Wow.
And I went for coffee and then she found me there. She was like, you see, I'm a real person. And
It's
then
good to
she could,
know.
at the
It's
end of
good
the
to
date,
know.
she couldn't remember where she parked. And like, I had to get her back to her car. And I was like, this is not gonna work.
No.
It's like, I can't be taking care of you. I'm sorry. It's like, I know I have strong
Wow.
masculine energy, but no, I'm not good with this. Like, I'm actually really girly in relationships. So,
Like you wouldn't believe, like I actually heard so many like horror stories from women that dated women that described like women being so much worse on first dates. Like, and because I always think like I always come on time on my dates.
same. I come
like I
early. I'm
try
an
to.
idiot.
It's like at least I try to like pretend that I'm taking my wallet out. Like at least I'm like not being completely like, like at least I'm trying.
Yeah, like I want to try this thing like to actually when the bill is on the table, what if I just ask what do you want to do about it? Like no dancing around with pretending to take out my wallet, like just to let him decide.
What are you gonna do about that bill?
It's like,
Yeah.
okay, what do you want?
Wait,
Yeah.
Choose.
John.
How do we do
John.
that?
John, what are you gonna do about this
John?
right now?
Oh, poor John.
Poor John. My God. No, no, like honestly, like with a lot of like I didn't go on a lot of dates with girls, but like most of them were failures, and 90% of them represented themselves as totally different characters than what they were. So like they would be like, I remember this one girl, and she's like, I'm very dominant personality. I'm like dominant in bed as well. I was like, okay. I met her and I was like, she was the most submissive person I've ever met in my life. She couldn't make a single decision. Like she'd be like, I don't know what I want to drink. I'm not sure. And I was like, wait, like I was like, are you? And I think she wasn't even aware of herself. So that was the problem. Like it's not like she was representing herself like wrongly. She had this idea of herself that was completely different than what she was like, what her energy was.
Yeah, it's
It's a
like
mismatch, like.
yeah, it's always this problem with online dating. Like people build up some kind of image, and we build up some kind of image in our heads of that person, which may have nothing to do with reality. So that's why the sooner the date takes place, the better. Because if we just keep texting and fantasizing about each other, it can be like can be quite a
Yeah.
disappointment. Like,
Uh, Talking about the subject of Irish men, they terrify me, absolutely. They
today.
are like, they are like, they don't know how to approach you, so they just unleash themselves on you, and you're like, what the hell just happened? It's like it comes from like a normal behavior, like friendship, to like a complete like blowout of everything in your face, and you're like, wait, what just happened? It's like I had so many like occasions where a person would talk with me normally and then would just send me their naked photo in the next one, and I'm like, I'm sorry, what was this?
And it's like a conversation completely like, and it's completely unexpected. Lots of times that you're just like having a, like, how is your day? What's going on? Like, tell me something about your day. Suddenly you get,
Absolutely terrifying the way they
thanks.
flirt.
Well, like at least most of the people I've been talking with, they would ask for us, like, do you want to see a picture of my dick by any chance? Like,
Or at least they would ask, they were nice,
No,
at least.
don't
I'm
want
like,
to
thanks
see
for
me.
asking. Like,
Oh God. No, 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 no. No, like even if we're like together for 15 years, do not send me photos of your personal equipment.
I don't understand, like, in what universe people think that this is completely acceptable. I guess maybe they're having lots of this kind of conversations for them to think it's normal to just unload the most awkward thing in your DM. I don't know.
Did you notice like the other thing also? It's like you're talking with a guy and he's like, "Oh, here's my photo from the gym." And I'm like, okay. I mean, like, I guess it's fine for you to send me the photo from the gym. It's like, but I don't know what you want me to say. I'm like, oh, cool, you're ripped. Like, it means nothing to me. It's like, it's not even I'm like giving you a compliment because I have to say something. Like, but I don't care about your gym photo. Like, I don't care about, like, this, I, it's I don't know. I think men just don't know what we're looking for. So because they're so visual, they think we're looking for the same thing,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that
you
we're so
know?
visual as well.
But
You
I
know.
am looking for a sporty guy. I wouldn't mind a gym photo, like, with
really,
all other qualities that they should possess. Like, I would prefer the sporty guy. So yeah, okay, gym photos are okay.
I never
I mean,
I
it's
never
it's
dated anyone who's into sports.
me neither.
No.
Was all yeah. I mean, like, obviously you don't mind someone sporting, someone fit and looks after themselves, but
We
I
just
don't
never
know.
matched.
Just yeah. We
Yeah.
just never had anything in common.
Yeah.
They like talk about shaking gains in gym and this kind of exercise, and I'm here like, well, I do yoga. you know,
I'm a bit lazy.
I like to sleep. I need like
It's like
3 coffees to wake up in the morning.
there was this guy. He made a post recently. He said like, I'm. It's like most of the guys are looking for girls just to like be romantic with them. But listen to me. This is a better idea. We can go to gym together. We can get ripped. We can travel together. We can do this. And I'm like, wait. Now, do not put responsibilities on me before we even started dating. I cannot commit to all of that you're offering. Like, can we
Or
just?
they have like these big lists. Well, women have them as well. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah, no, women have loads of lists. That
yeah,
is
they
true.
do.
It's not a male thing,
But
really.
it's not just a list of things. It's like a list of responsibilities. It's like, whoa.
Be sexually available. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm like,
I
mate,
sent you that, remember? Yeah.
I can't, I don't know if I'm available for myself most of the time, not for you. Like, because, like, my head is like a mush, so I can't promise you nothing. Like, I can promise to love you. That's all you're getting. Like,
I can promise to like be available as a person, emotionally, like
yeah.
to be available, like just the assumption that someone has to be available for that all the time. It's not very, it doesn't feel very consensual to me,
No, no,
because it's
no.
only like can I make myself available, or that do I have to be available for you only for your pleasure? That sort
Yeah,
of thing.
no, red flag.
Red flag, yeah.
It's like, yeah, no. It's a strange world. It's like I think people are getting very frustrated about like dating because there's so many times that you can go on date and just like not match properly, and then you get frustrated, and then you're like, no, I'm looking for this and that, and then which is good to know, don't get me wrong, but like sometimes like you can't just meet someone and throw that on them immediately. It's like people are gonna run away screaming. Like if sexual connection is something that is important for you, you can state it that way,
Yeah.
not say like I want someone to be sexually available 24/7. It's like, sorry, so what, should I call sick to work if you need me? Like,
Yeah, it's like to deal with all this frustration, like the only way is to like hand it over to the higher power and actually not try to control all this because
Yeah.
like I would have fallen in this trap. Like the more I get frustrated, the more I try harder and harder. Like I would doom scroll these dating apps and say yes to every date that is offered to me, and it only leads to more frustration. Like so uh, there should be something in our lives, like in my life, that occupies me, no matter if I have a boyfriend or not, if I go on a date tomorrow or not. Like I should be fine either way. Otherwise, it's just yeah, it's such emotional trap. Like you just concentrate on one thing which you cannot control whatsoever, and that's it. Like the only thing you can control is your own life, and whoever passes you by is just like a yeah, it's like a chance, and it's a luck problem. Like yeah, I would say it's a miracle to meet someone who you click with. So no
It
matter
is.
how it ends, like
It's so rare. Like my Reiki healer, she once told me that there was a woman that had a whole like a big list of what she wants, and then she kind of told me like what's happening to people wanting projects? Because I mean we're talking about a human being, not a project. And obviously it's nice to know what you want. Like you need to have things in common and interest in common, but it's like at the end of the day, as you said, you just put it in the hands of the universe. Because at the end of the day, sometimes what our best match is maybe someone that we never thought we would be part of our life. It's crazy how things like that happen very often.
true.
It's maybe someone that like you never thought would, would fit that like soulmate type, I suppose. So it's always good to be ready for that, in every shape or form it may come.
I always remember that meme. It's like there's this kind of metalhead guy and this girl, and she's like a normal girl, and then she's like, the second photo is like, I really hate that t-shirt, change that. So he wears like a white t-shirt. He's like, I hate your haircut, change that. And he, cuts off his hair. And the fourth photo is like, I really hate your shoes, change that. And he changes that as well. And in the last photo, she's like, you're not the man I fell in love with.
No
I
shit.
know.
It's like, well, you changed him. Like, there's the trap of the project person.
Hmm.
It's like, I'm gonna meet this person. I'm gonna fix him so he fits me better. Like it's like growing together. It's a great thing, but like fixing someone.
Yeah, like growing together should happen naturally, not because I
Yes.
decided to grow a person out of this, like I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, that's a trap I used to fall in because I fix people around me. I'm a fixer. And just like letting someone go and being like, okay, I see he has this and this and this trauma, but I'm not gonna push him to fix it. I'm gonna be like, okay, here's my insight. I see this and that, and you just do whatever the hell you want with it. Like, I'm gonna love you if you fix it or if you don't. Like, I'll still be here for you. Like, and but my urge is like, I need to fix it.
I know.
Because
Yeah.
I do that with myself. Like, if I notice some kind of shit in me, I'm like, I need to fix this. Like, I need to find ways to adjust this. Like, because I'm
Yeah.
into self-development, but maybe my partner is not that much, and I need to respect
And
that,
it's
you know?
and it's good if they follow that, maybe slowly but surely, but they follow that self-development. The problem is that I've came across many times is where I'm trying to like better someone, like really not change, it's different, just better, like just so they can be self-aware of certain patterns and behaviors. And then it would be so much worse because they just, no matter how much I would talk and take my time and it's like explain and like if you just did this and I try to like give constructive kind of like ways that they can see it. And then you actually kind of realize you're in a relationship with like a rock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
It's,
it
you know,
mostly
and
like
it
yeah.
doesn't work. Just
Yeah, we are taught that we have to convey our feelings and let guys know what we want, but I
yeah.
feel like most of the time it comes across as controlling. Like it's not like it's not received well. Like it's okay to explain how you feel, but like to tell the guy, "Oh, I want this and that." No, you did this, but you should have been doing this different way. Yeah, I used to do this like when I learned at least how to actually express what I want, because in my first relationship I wouldn't be even able to tell what I want because I was so afraid of losing him that I would just enable whatever shit was coming my way. But uh, then I figured it's not working and I started practicing actually expressing myself, what I want. And also it turned out that I'm not doing it right. Like, yeah, sometimes it's just easier to, not easier, but the right thing is to walk away from the relationship or take space from the situation that doesn't serve you. Doesn't have to be like smashing doors and saying goodbye forever, like just taking a bit of space. But this is like a quality that I still have to develop in myself, like how to chill, like just to chill and just not to take myself and the other person too seriously.
Yeah, no, I'm similar. I struggle to have fun. Like, for me, everything is like, how can we better ourselves? That's fun. You know, how can we involve? And like, and people are like, can we just chill and have coffee and not talk about self-development? Like, can we just talk about shit? And I'm like, oof, ooh. Yeah, I'm like, I'm gonna try. Yeah, because like everything in my mind is always constantly like, I don't know, maybe I'm that kind of a person, you know, I'm just like curious, but like not curious around like, I don't know, you know, I love movies and TV shows, that's as far as I go with fun, but yeah, I'm not like small talk person. It's just no. Let's like investigate our soul's desires is more like a fun subject for me. And I was always like that. Like, you know, like when I was a kid, I was like, who invented, like, who created humans? And like, my mom was like, God. I'm like, who's God? What is he doing? Why is this here? It's like, why is this? My mom was like, stop! You're giving me a headache. She's like, my mom was like, you can't think like that. You're gonna get a headache.
Oh my God.
And I was like, what? Like, what headache? Like, give me
Interesting.
more. Yeah, no, I was always too serious. I was like a serious kid. So, and I
Same.
just
Yeah.
accepted myself this way. It's like, it's actually, I'm having tons of fun talking about serious stuff. It's so much fun. It's like I was talking with a friend today, and he just started therapies, and he's like, you know, he's like, it's so depressed. He's like, there's so much I need to work with, and I'm like, it's exciting times. You're gonna
I can
discover so
imagine.
much. Like, imagine next time you go in therapy and you feel better. Like, it's exciting. He's like, this is awful. This is shit. And I'm like all this like, oh my God, you're gonna discover so much. You're on a roller coaster of your self-discovery. And like I know that's not everybody's cup of tea. Like a normal guy would dump me immediately. He'd be like, this girl is too much. And I've been told I'm too much so many times. And I know I'm a handful. But that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love problem solving. Like for me, I mean, it's for me the best thing is to find ways, because I always have many ways of solving a problem. It's never one way. It's like if this way doesn't work, the next one will, or the one after. And I make like 5 different plans where I lose myself in all of these plans. But it's like it's so exciting, especially anything like anything to for like self betterment. You know, if someone points out something to me and says, "Oh, no, you've been saying this, you've been doing this," I'm like, "Oh, like, oh, really? Oh my God, this is so cool. Did I really do that?" Like, you know, because you're not always self-aware that, like, you're not always super aware of everything you say or you do. So for me, like, super exciting. I was like, "Oh, do I really do that? Like, did I really say that?"
You
It's
have a
like, oh my
problem.
God, wow.
That's amazing. Let's find a solution now together.
Yeah, it's
Do
like,
you know
okay.
Till Swan? You know, when she's
Yeah,
like, when someone
yeah.
gives her a problem and she's like, and that's me. Like, I'm like, ooh, let's find a solution.
Funnily enough, I like when it comes to astrology, I think Till Swan has a stellium in Gemini, and you're very air dominant. So they always like they always especially when they're presented with a very good argument, they always like they will chuckle because they already know what they're gonna say, and it happens really quickly, you know. So it's
I
very
already,
common
like,
for them.
before you asked me a question, I probably thought about that 2, 3 hours
Yeah,
ago,
yeah.
and I found you a solution for it. That, that was so nerve-wracking about my family, because like my family is like in a state of absolute no movement, like stagnation, and I am like I want to move things, and then it was constant like
Yeah.
resistance, and me like hitting the wall, and I had to move away because like I was like I'm never gonna get the energy moving in this place. No way.
No, no.
Even if it was like 3 of me, would probably be enough to get the energy moving, but not in one. Like one is not enough. God, we
I,
talked so much,
It's almost
but I
like
really
it's
enjoyed
almost two
this.
hours. It's crazy. I was just like, there's so many things that we could still say,
I
Yes.
know.
and I'm thinking like it's been almost 2 hours, and there's still like so many subjects that are coming into my mind like that I actually want to discuss. You know,
We need to meet
Yeah, me too.
again.
definitely,
Absolutely, I'd love
definitely.
to.
That was so good. Like I think we went through all the things on the list, but naturally, like we didn't have
Yeah.
to
Absolutely.
like revisit them. It just flowed in
You
that
didn't even have
direction.
to ask, okay, so, you know, you didn't have to even ask the question. It just like, we just got to that eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
amazing.
which was remarkable. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, my last topic was like future of relationships, and we actually touched upon that, and I was like, how the heck this happens? Like,
And you know what I find so refreshing is just to converse with intelligent women, you know, with like
Yeah.
self-aware and that like understand a bit of like everything, you know, psychology, a bit of like social aspects, relationship aspect. It's so refreshing,
yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
it's
It
really,
feels
really
really
fascinating,
good.
enjoyed it.
fulfilling.
Yeah.
Yeah, same. And we're gonna meet on my workshop as well, all 3 of us.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
so
you're
you're coming
coming
too?
too.
Yeah, I'm coming too.
Great.
Yay!
Yeah,
Awesome.
I already booked a day off. I'm not forgetting that. I missed the last one. I was supposed to. I couldn't come in August, but yeah, I said this time. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, last workshop was amazing. Here.
Oh, thank you. It was the first one I was doing alone, and I was like, my successor, a demon, was there, and like he was like, "You shouldn't be doing this. You're not good enough." But
No,
I was like, "You listen to me, demon. We're doing this." So
No, it was
I was
great.
like,
Just perfect.
"Yeah,
you know
yeah,
that little demon is always in your head. Like it was the same for me when I started my astrology YouTube channel. And, you know, I almost gave up. I almost didn't do it because I was like, oh my God, you're gonna look so stupid. Like, what are people gonna say? Like, it was so, like, the voices in my head were so bad. Like, were telling me, like, don't do it, don't do it. And I was like, you know what? Fuck you. I am fucking doing it. And nothing's gonna stop me. And you know
Yeah.
what? Once I started doing it, I'm like, oh my God, this is actually so much fun. I'm
Yeah.
having fun doing it. Like, you know,
Exactly.
and the feedback was really good as well. So now I just enjoy it. Like, I'm so glad that I made myself do it technically, even though I really wanted to chicken out. You know?
Same as me planning this podcast for a year. Like, I was like, what's wrong with you? How long are you going to delay this?
Yeah, I don't know. Even like even if some of my kind of whatever ideas, like worst thing that can happen, I will fail. But what's gonna happen if I fail? Okay,
Yeah,
people fail, right?
but that's it.
Exactly.
That's so good because, like, if you fail, okay, you can start again. You
Yeah,
know, just in a different way. Like,
Yeah.
nothing's like you're not gonna like kill yourself over it. You know,
yeah.
you just
Just let
figure out a way. You know.
yeah. If we just stop beating ourselves up for any mistake or imperfection, like I think things will flow. Like
And
True.
definitely not listening to like people that they're, you know, obviously you've got some people around, they're like, oh, you know, I don't think this is a good idea, but that doesn't like resonate in your heart, like
yeah,
that them saying it's a bad idea, but you're like, oh, but I really want to do it. I think it's gonna be like good for me, you know.
yeah,
So definitely
I
like just listening to your inner voice, you know.
I
yeah.
had
And for
people
me,
like criticizing my singing, like to me, and I was like, I have a degree,
Oh,
like in singing. Like
you know,
seriously, and who are you? Like,
I had a friend where she used to be my friend, and like we were both like really really deeply into astrology, and she had like a Facebook page where she was doing astrology, and I said, you know what, like I really want to like start my YouTube channel talking about astrology. It's something we had in common and we shared, and we were close over it. And then
yeah,
literally like one day she messages me and she says, you know what, God, I saw God before me, and God has told me, not God hasn't come to me to tell me that, it came to her, that I shouldn't in any way or form do astrology because that's gonna be so bad for me. And this is a person that did not like come from any Christian background. So I'm there sitting reading this message thinking, like, I don't know if I'm crazy for having this person in my life, or this person is just. I did ask this person if did you do any drugs or did you
uh,
like obviously I have to ask because
God
oh,
has no better thing to do
how
than
did
to think
yeah
about Estella and astrology.
it's like I'm sure God has so many problems. Like, if, first of all, if in any shape or form God would first come to me, I suppose, to
yeah,
tell me
like
something is so bad for me, you know,
yeah, I think yeah, the
it's
God
bad.
would show like if you would have asked the God like God, do I have to do an astrology? Then maybe they would show up and tell you, but not to your friend, right?
Why
Exactly.
does
Like,
God give a
for my
damn
own
if you do
benefit, I would be
astrology?
warned, like, about this, you know, or I
Yeah.
would feel it. It's just like, no, 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 you cannot do it. And if you do it, you're gonna, like, basically ruin your life. That was the words. So I'm just like, okay, well, I'm.
Thank you. Thank you for your
And it's
advice.
like 4 years
Give God my
later.
regards. Next time you see him.
Next time I'll send you one.
Oh my God! Like we, we're gonna be finishing the podcast now on the note of God. Maybe we can talk about this next.
Like, Anna sends God her regards. Then
Say hi to God for
we're
me.
entering dangerous territory right now.
Totally
Yeah.
crazy stuff. Crazy. You know, like honestly, like I
Yeah.
think like if you want to do something before your fear kicks in, make sure to like go step up. So like when
Yeah.
I'm like fearing if something's not gonna happen, I'm like okay, like I'm afraid about this podcast. I'm gonna send invites to both of you and book the time with you. So if I don't show up, I'm gonna feel bad about it. So I will show up. Or like I'm gonna book the space for the workshop. So I, you know, booked the room, so I need to show up there. So I can't have any more excuses.
It's so
Yeah.
crazy. I almost gave up on the podcast when my internet connection was not working. I was almost like, okay, this is a sign that, like, obviously it's not meant to be today. And look at that now. I
Yeah,
don't
Yeah.
know. I just can't
perfect.
explain it.
We're coming into 2 hours, and I think the video is gonna stop anyway. So I'm gonna thank our audience that bared with us for 2 hours. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you soon.
I'll
So
see you soon for sure.
bye bye, audience.
Bye everyone,
Bye.
and thanks for watching.
Wow.
Stella dropped.
Did she drop?